Most guys chase women. They send the texts, plan the dates, try to impress her, and still get left on read. But here's the truth. The men women obsess over, they're not chasing at all. They're using psychological triggers, most of which women don't even realize are working on them. If you understand these 7 powerful tricks, you'll flip the dynamic entirely. She'll be thinking about you nonstop, even when she doesn't want to. Let me show you how it works. This video is not about cheap pickup lines or weird tactics that only work once. This is about understanding the psychology that drives deep attraction, the kind that keeps her checking your stories, talking about you to her friends, and wondering what you're doing when you're not around. I'm going to break down 7 powerful psychological triggers that real women respond to. These aren't theories. These are things backed by real-world results and repeated patterns you'll start to see everywhere once you understand how they work. Most guys never realize this, but attraction isn't really about what you say. It's about what she feels. And the truth is, women don't fall for the man who's always available, always texting, and constantly trying to impress. In fact, that guy usually ends up either ghosted or permanently stuck in the friend zone. Why? Because he never triggered the psychological side of attraction. He focused on the surface, not what's really going on in her mind. And once you start to understand the psychology behind what makes a woman obsessed, you stop doing the things that make you look desperate, and you start doing the things that naturally flip the power dynamic. The craziest part is, once you learn how to activate these subtle but powerful triggers, it won't even feel like effort. It'll feel like women just naturally start paying more attention to you, chasing you, thinking about you even when you're not there. Now here's where most guys get it wrong. They think the key to getting a woman hooked is giving her more compliments, more attention, more effort. But the reality is that makes you predictable. And once you're predictable, her brain stops releasing dopamine when she's around you. She already knows what you'll say. She already knows you'll be available. There's no excitement in that. And excitement is what makes her obsessed. Think about it. Why do people keep checking their phones when they're waiting for a text from someone they like? It's because they don't know when the reply is coming. That uncertainty is addictive. So when you make yourself slightly less available, not as a game, but because you value your time, suddenly you become the reward. And she wants more of what's not guaranteed. There's this one guy I knew, nothing flashy about him. He wasn't rich, didn't have model looks, but every time we were out, women were magnetically drawn to him. And the one thing he did differently? He never tried too hard. He'd ask women questions, sure, but he'd never overshare. He'd tell stories, but leave parts out, just enough to make them curious. And if a woman didn't seem interested, he'd walk away. No begging, no convincing. And guess what? Half the time, those same women would come back around, trying to earn his attention. That's when it hit me. He understood something most guys don't. Women don't want someone who's begging for their time. They want someone whose time feels valuable. Someone who has options, confidence, and self-control. Because that kind of energy is rare. But this isn't about pretending. If you fake confidence, women pick up on it instantly. This is about rewiring the way you show up. That starts with understanding how women process attraction. You see, for most men, attraction is visual first. But for women, it's psychological. It's emotional. It's driven by how they feel when they're around you, and more importantly, how they feel when you're not around. So when you can create a gap between interactions, just enough to make her wonder what you're thinking or doing, you're creating space for her to miss you. That space is powerful. Most guys fill it with endless texting or double texting when she doesn't respond. But when you leave that space intentionally, it builds tension. And tension is the seed of obsession. Let's be real though. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about understanding natural human psychology. It's about realizing that people don't value what's handed to them on a silver platter. They value what they work for. And if she doesn't have to work for your attention, your time, your presence, she'll never truly value you. That doesn't mean you have to be cold or rude. It just means you stop giving away your energy so easily. When you start to treat your time and attention like it's worth something, women begin to feel like they need to earn it. And when she feels like she's earned something from you, she'll protect it. That's when the shift happens, from interest to emotional attachment. And it's not always obvious at first. You might just notice she starts texting first. Maybe she starts asking you more personal questions. She wants to know more about you. She pays more attention to your social media. She brings up things you said weeks ago. These are all signs that she's mentally invested. But most guys ruin it by flooding her with too much too soon. They get excited, think they've got her hooked, and suddenly start texting her every morning, giving her constant reassurance, trying to lock it down. That kills the mystery. It kills the unpredictability. And it tells her subconsciously, you've already won. But if she's already won, what's left to chase? That's why one of the most powerful things you can do is remain calm when she pulls back. Because she will pull back at some point. That's how most women test if you're the real deal. They want to see how you react. Will you panic? Will you blow up her phone? Will you start acting needy or insecure? Or will you stay cool, focused, and slightly distant, like a man who knows his value and won't chase someone who doesn't recognize it? That's when she realizes, wait, this guy's different. And that thought is what hooks her. Not your looks, not your money, not even your compliments, but the way you carry yourself when the situation doesn't go your way. And if you really want to take it deeper, you have to understand that women are constantly scanning for emotional contrast. That's why the guy who's always nice gets ignored. Not because being nice is bad, but because it's one-dimensional. She wants to feel the full emotional range. She wants to laugh, be challenged, feel safe, feel a little uncertainty, all in one interaction. That's what builds tension. That's what gets her heart racing. When you can make her feel multiple emotions in a single conversation, she won't be able to stop thinking about you, because emotional contrast creates emotional impact, and emotional impact creates memory. Now here's where most men underestimate their power. They think they need to do more, say more, be more, when in reality the power is in the pause. Think about the last time a woman left you on red. What happened? Your brain probably started spinning, right? You started wondering why she didn't respond. Did you say something wrong? Is she losing interest? That little bit of silence caused a storm in your head. Now imagine flipping that. Imagine being the guy who creates that feeling in her. And no, this isn't about being rude or ghosting her out of nowhere. This is about giving her time to miss you, letting her sit in the silence you choose to create. Because when there's space, her mind fills it. And that's where obsession begins. Not when you're always present, but when your absence makes an impact. Let me tell you a quick story. There was this guy I knew, average guy, nothing flashy. He started seeing this woman who was used to attention from guys who would bend over backwards for her. But this guy was different. After their first couple dates, he didn't text her for a few days. Not because he was playing games, but because he was genuinely busy building his own life. And guess what? She started reaching out more. She'd ask him when they were going to hang out again. She'd check in just to say hi. And he never gave her more than what was needed. No long paragraphs. No essays of how much he liked her. Just calm, short, confident replies. That woman ended up completely hooked. Why? Because he didn't hand himself over. He made her feel like his attention was earned, not given. This taps into a psychological trick that very few men use: delayed gratification. Women are wired to value what they have to work for. It's human nature. When you stretch out the reward, when you don't give her instant validation every time she wants it, you actually increase her emotional investment. It's like a mental slot machine. Sometimes you respond, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're warm, sometimes you're just chill. That unpredictability isn't cruel, it's captivating, because she never knows what's coming next, and that keeps her emotionally engaged. Now here's another trick that works like magic. Be the guy who doesn't overreact. She says something you don't like, stay calm. She tries to test you by pulling back or posting something provocative on social media. Stay chill. Don't comment. Don't question. Don't chase. Just keep moving like nothing happened. Women notice everything. And when she sees that nothing shakes you, she starts to question why you're so composed. Is it because you have options? Is it because you're used to women? Is it because you're just not that impressed? That curiosity eats at her. It forces her to look at you differently. She stops seeing you as someone she controls emotionally and starts seeing you as a man who controls himself. And women respect that. More than anything, they respect emotional control. Any guy can be sweet when things are going well, but the one who stays solid when she pulls away, that's the guy she remembers. That's the guy who gets under her skin. Because emotional self-control isn't common. Most guys break under pressure. They text too much, double call, ask what went wrong, and every time they do, they lose a little bit of respect. But when you stay centered, when you give her space without chasing, you show her you're not just another guy. You show her you have a backbone, that you're not afraid of losing her. And ironically, that's what makes her afraid of losing you. Let's go even deeper. Here's a powerful trick you can start using right away. Be slightly hard to read. Now, I'm not saying you should be cold or mysterious for no reason, but don't always wear your heart on your sleeve. Don't tell her exactly how much you like her right away. Let her guess. Let her wonder. Let her ask herself, does he really like me that much, or is he just being nice? That question creates tension. That tension creates obsession. When a woman knows everything about your feelings too early, there's no suspense. But when you hold a little bit back, when you make her earn the full version of you, she becomes addicted to finding out more. That's basic human psychology. We chase what's just out of reach. We crave what's not guaranteed. It's the same reason people are obsessed with stories, movies, and games. It's the anticipation, the uncertainty, the feeling of not knowing what's coming next. When you become that kind of experience, when your presence feels like a story that unfolds slowly, women don't just like you, they invest in you, emotionally, mentally, even physically. And when that happens, they start thinking about you all the time. They stalk your stories, they analyze your texts, they try to decode your tone, they ask mutual friends about you. All because you didn't give them everything up front. You gave them just enough to stay curious. And if you think this won't work on confident women, think again. It especially works on confident women, because those are the ones who are used to attention. They're used to men showing up, doing the most, trying to impress them from day one. But when you don't fall into that pattern, when you don't try to prove yourself, they start wondering what makes you different. They start chasing your validation. And when the roles reverse like that, you're not just attractive, you're unforgettable. Now here's where it all comes together. When you stack these psychological tricks the right way, not as games, but as tools to enhance how you show up, everything starts changing. You no longer feel powerless in dating. You're no longer the guy sitting there wondering why she suddenly pulled away or stopped replying. Instead, you're in control of your presence. You understand that attraction is not just about looks or money or lines. It's about how she feels around you. And if she feels unpredictable excitement, emotional safety, a touch of mystery, and your complete lack of neediness, she starts obsessing. The irony is, obsession isn't something you force. It's something you inspire, and it comes from doing less, but with more intention. You stop giving endless compliments. Instead, you throw in one compliment at the perfect moment, maybe after she's shown you something real. That one compliment will hit harder than 10 from a guy who's just trying to flatter her. You stop asking for her attention. Instead, you make her curious. She wonders why you didn't respond right away. She checks your socials, wondering what you're up to. She remembers the way you looked at her, the way you held eye contact without saying too much. That emotional gap, that space you left, it drives her wild because she wants to fill it. She wants to get closer. She wants to figure you out. Most guys try to win her over by over-explaining themselves, constantly reassuring her, constantly checking in. But that kills attraction fast. It's like solving a puzzle too quickly. Once it's done, the excitement's gone. So your job isn't to be a puzzle she never solves, it's to be one she enjoys figuring out slowly. You give her just enough to stay hooked while staying grounded in who you are. You don't bend over backwards to win her, you stay firm and let her earn your presence. And trust me, the moment she feels like she's the one trying to keep you is the moment her mindset flips. Now let's not get it twisted. This isn't about being cold or manipulative. This is about value, self-respect, emotional intelligence. When you know what you bring to the table, you don't go chasing anyone. You let people reveal who they are. You stay calm when they test you. And you choose your responses based on what keeps your energy aligned, not based on fear of losing someone. That's real power. And that's the kind of energy that makes a woman think about you long after you've left the room. I've seen guys who were average in looks, had no fancy lifestyle, and weren't even particularly charismatic, but they understood this game. They understood female psychology. And because they knew how to create emotional depth and mystery, women gravitated toward them. Not because they were the loudest in the room, but because they were the most grounded. And that grounding, being unshakable, that's what creates obsession. Women feel safest and most drawn to a man who isn't constantly reacting to everything, who can sit in silence, who can say no, who can walk away if he's not being valued. That's the man they can't stop thinking about. So what happens when you master these 7 psychological triggers? Women don't just like you. They start needing your presence. They start craving your attention. They wonder what you're doing, who you're seeing, what you're thinking. You're no longer just a guy she talks to. You're the man who lives in her head without even trying. And the best part? You didn't have to fake anything. You just understood the rules of the game. You moved differently. You held your frame. And that's what separated you from every other guy she's ever met. Women aren't impressed by a guy who gives everything right away. They're impressed by the man who gives just enough at the right moments. And when you start using these psychological tools, rewarding her effort, creating emotional contrast, controlling your availability, staying mysterious, being emotionally composed, flipping the validation dynamic, and showing calm detachment, you flip the entire power structure. You go from chasing to being chased. You go from trying to be liked to being unforgettable. Now, here's the truth no one tells you. These psychological shifts don't just help with women. They change how people treat you in general. Friends, coworkers, strangers, they start respecting you more. Because you're no longer needy. You're no longer reacting. You're centered, you're calm, and you know your value. And that energy, it speaks louder than anything you can say. So next time you're talking to a woman, don't just try to impress her. Watch how you show up. Think about your energy. Don't give everything away. Let her feel the pull of your mystery, the calm of your presence, and the confidence of your standards. Let her earn you. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, without even trying, you become the kind of man she can't stop thinking about. Not because you chased her, but because you became the prize. Watch the next video.